All right. Good afternoon. Good evening, wherever you're watching this. Welcome to Sigh of Relief, a show where we help you unwind your day or even get your day started. Join us as we talk about today's trending topics, current events, news, pop culture. I'm your host, Tony. And to join me, my co-host, can you introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Kiya. Am I supposed to
All
say
right.
more?
Thank you.
That was
We're live.
nothing. I know.
All right.
Should we start over? Should I say more?
Uh,
That just seems kind of lame.
you're fine. It's recording. I'm going to just have to chop it out. Uh,
Okay.
so, Kiya, how are you doing?
Good. I'm doing good. It's been a long weekend, but we're here on Sunday. Day's almost over. Weekend's almost
Right.
over. How
Right.
are you?
Because you don't, I'm doing good. I didn't really do anything this weekend. I watched a ton of college basketball. As you know, it's March Madness, or you may not know. It's March Madness. So I did that, ran errands, returned stuff to Amazon. And that was about it. It's pretty uneventful weekend. And just also prepare for this, for the podcast. So that's about it.
Sounds like
So
an adult weekend.
yeah, really adult weekend. Really adult weekend. So summer is right around the corner, so I'm looking forward to it. Do you have anything exciting planned for the summer or no?
Not necessarily for summer. I don't really
Mhm.
plan stuff out.
Mhm.
Spring, though, of course. Birthday's next month, so
Okay,
gotta take my
congratulations.
annual gotta take my annual birthday trip. Thank you.
Okay, okay, cool. Do you know what you want to do for your birthday, or still in the air?
I don't know. I obviously always go somewhere out of the country or something similar.
Nice.
Um, but I don't know this year. I feel
Okay.
like after last year's trip, I did South Africa, and how do you
Oh
top
yeah,
South Africa? So
right. I mean, you could. I mean, the only way you can top South Africa is either going to another neighboring country, or going even further. So I don't know if you want to plan it out or just go on a whim.
yeah, you know me, I'll just go on a win.
Yeah, I
Out
know.
there and do that.
You're not gonna do any planning. You're just gonna say, "Hey, I'm about to go to this country tomorrow." I'm like,
Facts.
"What? What?" Yeah. I don't know what I'm
Absolutely.
gonna do this summer. I probably, of course, take a few in-state trips. Probably go visit family. Um, that's probably about it. You good over there?
Mhm.
You looking real dark.
No, I think it just broke. That's okay. Just buy another one. You need
It,
me to
it
turn
broke in the
more
middle of
light
the
on?
stream.
Yeah,
You say what? It broke in the middle of the stream.
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess
And
that
it came
means you
back
probably
on. Let's see how long
came
it
on.
lasts
Yeah, the
again.
battery's probably
I
low.
don't think. I don't think it. I think it's broken. It's fine. Should I cut more light on? Do I look
No,
really
I'm,
dark?
I'm not looking at you now. Give me a second. No, I mean, let's see.
I feel like this looks fine.
Yeah, you look fine.
Okay.
All right, cool. So we have a few items on that we're going to talk. I want to talk to you about today. Pretty lighthearted items. The first topic is a current trending topic right now. And for those of you who are listening, I'm going to just tell you guys what happened. So last week, pop artist Sean Kingston, his mother were found guilty in their federal wire fraud case. They were convicted of operating a scheme where they would send fraudulent bank wires to businesses for payments for vehicles and other luxury items without actually sending the actual funds. And so this was a scheme that, I first heard about a few years ago, where him and his mother would send businesses money and get luxury items such as cars and jewelry, but never actually paid these businesses for their actual products. And so I don't know if this is something that you've heard in the past few days or in the past week, but you're smiling. So I'm assuming you've
A
heard what
little
was going
bit,
on.
yes.
All right.
A little
What's,
bit.
what's your opinion about what happened with him and his mama? Out here hitting licks.
I believe that this is more common than people probably think it is. I think that
Mhm.
there's multiple people who have like these. I don't know if you would call it a Ponzi scheme. I guess I don't even know what a Ponzi scheme is, but these these schemes and scams to
Mhm.
get money. But he's been talked about for a long time prior to whatever happened this week. So he's always been known to, I guess, scam or not get his money the legal way. So
Right.
his mom being in on it is a whole extra layer because I don't know, him being, ex rapper, obviously want to keep up this persona.
Right.
Okay, I could see him doing something like that, but including your
Mhm.
mom to
Yeah.
also be
Yeah.
in on it, that's a little crazy. I don't know.
Right. Right. Yeah, definitely. When I first, like I said, when I first heard of the story, I think it was over a year ago. I heard he was in like legal troubles. But now to see them, convicted and found guilty of something like you said, being a rapper and trying to keep up with the Joneses, and having that lifestyle of being extremely popular at one point with his, I think the name of his song was Beautiful Woman or Beautiful Girl.
Beautiful girls, yeah.
Beautiful girl. Yeah, beautiful. Well, it's gonna be a lot of
Like
beautiful.
that's
It ain't gonna be no beautiful girls in prison when he get there.
no,
So it's
not
gonna be
at
some
all.
boys, just
Yeah.
boys. So
And men as
yeah,
well, but
man,
yeah.
yeah, and I think I read that he's in his mid 30s. And so one of the
Oh,
things
okay.
that one of the things that he was telling, I guess the marshals, the court marshals, when he was getting arrested and taken off, was that protect my mom, and it's so crazy that he didn't protect his mom, and
Right.
instead, he brought her into this
Right.
scheme, and so they they both were benefiting, but now they're
Well,
caught.
did he
So
bring her into it or did she bring him into it? That's
right, right,
another
right.
part of the question.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Because honestly, his mother could be the ringleader. So,
right,
you know,
exactly. She
so
could.
she could be, the one that was, making him create music, not making him, helping him drive the music, and now, scheme, businesses out of, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars when it comes to, luxury items, homes, and cars. And I think last year, like I
Hmm.
mentioned, I saw this on the news, and I saw one of the homes that they were living in Florida, and it was a big house. It was a huge house. It looked like a
Yeah.
mini White House, but
You
so
said it was in
you know,
Florida, in Miami?
yeah, I think it was in Florida. I think he's from
Okay.
South Florida, so yeah, that's where he's at. So yeah, yeah. Speaking of that, have you and your mother gotten in any trouble, or you and your relatives gotten in any trouble? I'm not saying it has to be like wire fraud, but have you ever did something with a family member and you know, got caught afterwards and be like, damn, we effed up.
Definitely have never been arrested for wire fraud.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
No, I have never, not that I can think of. My mom
Mhm.
definitely never had me mixed in anything that would have me in prison.
Right, right.
Um,
Shout out to
or
mom.
never really encouraged. Thank you, shout out to her, but definitely never encouraged me to do anything that would put me behind bars either.
Right,
So no, not a cousin, not a aunt,
right,
nobody. No.
right. Yeah, I don't. Hell, I've never been in trouble as an adult. The only thing I could think of is probably stealing candy as a kid, and I think every kid probably did that at one point. But when you become an adult, you can't behave like you
Yes.
did when you were underage. You can't
Hmm.
you know,
The stakes are
stealing
higher
candy
for
is one.
sure.
Yeah, yeah. The risk is, everything is higher. Stealing candy is one thing, but to fraud someone out of, tons of money and items like, luxury items, of course
And
they're going to call the
knowingly,
police. Right, right, right.
right?
Exactly. Right. Of course
Knowingly.
they're going to call the police. They're going to get the local authorities involved. They're going to get the FBI involved. And if you're well known, it's not even worth the shame. You might as well just go back to making music yourself or finding an artist to produce.
For me too, I think another added layer to it is that he was in trouble before, and it didn't have anything to do with this. I think it had something
Mhm,
to do with like his jewelry. Like maybe he got a chain made or something and didn't
mhm,
pay the jeweler. I
mhm,
could be wrong,
mhm.
but I think I'm on the right track.
Okay.
So my thing is, if he was able to get away with that, or maybe he paid it, whatever, he resolved it, right?
Right.
Why then go and do something that could again lead you on the same path that you were just in a negative light?
Mhm.
So he's always kind of had negative attention towards his name, I think,
Right.
after he released music.
Mhm.
So I just don't, I wouldn't want that track record to follow me.
Right. Right. Not only that track record, well, I mean, it's gonna follow him. He's an adult. This is
Well,
like
yeah,
we said
well,
earlier. Just bring your mother in. I don't know if you saw his mother's mugshot, but
mm-mm.
after this, go look at it.
Oh gosh,
I
did
would
she look
say
disheveled or she look good?
I would say she looked like him without a wig, but she she
Well, she
looked
is his
like
mom.
she looked like Michael Jordan. Like she
Okay.
she didn't have a wig. She didn't have a wig on. Like she was like bald, she could have
Okay.
condition or whatever, but she was bald, and I had to do a double take. I'm like, is that him or is that his mama? Like, I'm like, oh, that's his mom. Um, and
Well, typically
so I
kids
mean,
look like their parents, so I'm sure
right,
she wasn't done up. She was, taken
yeah,
into custody. But
right, yeah. And one of the things I was also reading about the court case is that I think his mom was considered a flight risk, so they took her passport.
okay.
So I'm gonna assume she was probably a dual citizen of another country.
Hmm.
He was American, so they
I
probably
think they're
didn't take his passport.
Jamaican,
Oh, they're
right?
Jamaican? Okay. I
I
mean, they
think they
could be.
are.
I don't know. But so let's assume they took her passport to prevent her from, running back to, whatever, country that she was born in. So, I mean, honestly, if I was her and I was facing 20 years and I'm probably in my 60s, yeah, I'm gonna go back to Jamaica too.
Me too.
Yeah.
I don't blame her. Me too.
So
I'm
you
not
gonna see me.
about to
Yeah.
fulfill. I'm not fulfilling my last years in prison, jail, whatever.
Right.
The
Right. If you
county.
60, yeah, right. If you 65 or 60 years old and they talking about doing 20, yeah, give me that Jamaican passport. Let me
Right.
pick up this Jamaican accent and let me go back home. And my son will be out in 20 years. He'll be around 50. He can take care of
Hopefully. Do you know
it.
how long they're facing? Like how many years they're facing?
Yeah. 20 years.
It is 20.
Yeah, I think a
Okay, so they probably
maximum
won't
of
get the
20
full
years.
20.
No, they probably get, but like you said, what we talked about, they've done this before. If they've been in the system
Mm,
before, they may get probably 7 to 14, depending on, factors like mom's age, mom's health. But the fact that they've allegedly done this before and they continue to do it, that's the thing. Once you live in a high life, you're performing in sold out
yeah.
arenas, you're on tour, you're on private planes. It's hard to go back to being a normal citizen, you know, so
Yeah.
it's just hard. So some people can't, go back to living in a normal house or a normal apartment. They want to still keep up that lifestyle. And that's something that a lot of celebrities, famous people and athletes,
Yeah.
have to face. So,
Should have went
but
on Love and
yeah.
Hip Hop or something. I don't know.
Yeah, look, he probably was. They probably rejected him or something. I don't know,
Mm,
but that would have
maybe.
been a good pivot for him, considering I think they shoot that
Hmm.
show in South Florida, so that'd have been a good pivot for him. But instead, he's gonna be uh, what is it? Love at the lockup. So he's gonna be
Love
on that
after
show
lock.
instead.
Yes.
He's gonna be on that show. So
Hey.
hopefully, yeah, that'll be a good pivot for him. So hopefully, they bring him on the season 2035 and put him
Whatever.
on
Right.
Love at the Lockup.
Right.
So yeah,
Be
definitely.
a good opportunity to come out to some money at least.
Yeah, definitely. Get some money. Cool. All right. So there's another story trending. I know you've heard of this one, as well. So there was a video that emerged that shows a preacher, Marvin Sapp, instructing his staff and building security to close the doors while his congregation is asked to pay up. In a viral video, Sapp can be heard, challenging those in attendance at his church and basically saying, quote, come down here and give me a 20 seed. Have you heard of this story?
I have heard of it. Not the
Mhm.
details, but
Okay.
what is a 20 C? Is that just like a
So,
$20 bill?
so yeah, that's one of the things I was actually trying to figure out when I read the story. I'm gonna assume it's local slang for 20, the same way people say a dub for 20. So I
Okay.
guess a 20 seed is slang for, $20 bill.
Okay. Why is the
So
pastor using slang? But okay. I mean, that's fine, I guess. Um, First and foremost, let's give Marvin Sapp his flowers because I love some of his music. I don't know all
oh, he
his
makes
music,
music?
but yeah.
Oh,
Never
like
would have made it. You ain't never heard that song? I'll send it to you
no.
later. It's a it is a very okay, we all know Kirk Franklin, right?
Oh, it's gospel music.
Yeah, it's a gospel.
Yeah, I know Kirk Franklin, but is Marvin Sapp gospel?
He has a mainstream song, Never Would Have Made It, that pretty much everybody knows just like they know Stomp.
Yeah, Stump is big.
You would that's what I'm saying. So it's Never Would Have Made It. That's one of my favorite
Okay.
gospel songs. We
Okay.
gonna get you up on gospel game.
Okay. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Saying I don't know no gospel
um,
music.
but first we need to give him his flowers on that song and being, a prominent pastor. I can't say that I've watched any of his sermons or anything like that because I haven't. But locking the doors, I just don't even understand why.
Mhm.
Like, why didn't he just say we need X amount of dollars because of
Mhm.
X, Y, and Z?
Mhm.
If you can contribute, please do so.
Right.
I would expect for him to be a lot more well off than anybody in the audience.
Well, look, it goes back to the last story. You think these people are well off? They need a 20 seed.
Well, and maybe he's not well off, but more well off than the majority that's watching him for a said word.
Mhm.
So locking the doors, I don't know what that was supposed to stop. If they don't have the money, they don't have the money.
Right.
Um, so I don't know what's happening. Did he
Right.
come out and say why he wanted to lock the doors?
So yeah, he released a statement after the video went viral, and he said that he wanted to close the doors to create a more secure environment to exchange cash. That sounds like some
Yeah,
BS to me.
that's what I was that sounds
Uh,
like
uh,
his attorneys told him to say that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That sounds great, but
Right, right,
sir, no. For one,
right.
it's a church, right? Like
Hmm.
you don't hear too much stuff happening at churches for the most part.
No,
Um,
but there was that one. I think they called him Bling Bling preacher. He got allegedly robbed in the middle of a sermon in New York. I think a year ago. And I know
well,
you
with a
heard
name
that one.
like Bling Bling, I haven't, but with a
Oh,
name
okay,
like
okay.
Bling Bling preacher, he probably was
Yeah.
doing something in the streets to get
Yeah, he
robbed at
was. He was in the
church.
streets. He was in the streets. Yeah. So I think he would. I think Bling Bling. I think the media called him Bling Bling preacher, but or Bling Bling pastor, one of those names. But the guy in New York was rocking fur coats. I think driving like Bentleys. So yeah,
Sounds like New
he's
York.
not yeah, he's not sap, but he had I guess a similar lifestyle, and so like I said in the quote, he wanted to create a secure environment to exchange cash, and so it sounded like basically some type of shakedown, like you tell people in the church, hey,
Mm.
give me $20, give me $40, and if you watch the video, you can see folks walking up to the front to put money in a collection basket. So,
Oh,
it
okay.
it just shows you a lot of people are not in the ministries to, spread God's gospel, but to basically enrich themselves and make money. So, it's kind of a sad story. So,
But what
but
point?
now,
Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
I was gonna say what point do you? And this is a personal question. Like,
Mhm.
at what point do you feel like people are also human and they make human errors and they make mistakes too? I'm. This isn't only about Marvin Sapp because there's Jamal Bryant, who's another prominent pastor. Um, he's had instances as
Mhm.
well of being in the media. And
Yeah.
then you have Joel Osteen. He obviously had, the Katrina or whatever
It was a storm in
hurricane.
Texas. Yeah, I think
Yes.
2 years ago.
Yes, so he's, been in the limelight as well. Like you have
Mhm.
all of these prominent pastors. TD Jakes has had his fair share of media attention.
This man
Like
just
at
had a
what
heart
point
attack.
do we,
Yeah.
I think he had a heart attack a I think it was a little while ago, like a couple
Okay.
months
Okay.
maybe.
Okay.
But either way, like all of their names have been in the media for something egregious or negative.
Mhm.
So at what point do we step back and say, like, they made a mistake, just like you could make a mistake, I can make a
Mhm.
mistake, but we don't have a set of cameras or a million eyes on us
Mhm.
catching our mistakes and calling them out. So do you
Mhm.
feel like it possibly could be exactly what he's saying? And I mean, it sounds like yes to me too. But is there a possibility that, he's just wrapped up in some controversy right now?
I don't know what kind of mistake that is. That's like me, coming to your house and basically closing the doors and say, "Hey, let me get a 20 seed. Let me tie you up just to make sure the exchange is secure." Like, I know
Yeah.
he didn't tie people up, but I mean, a lot of people are going into religion for business to make money.
Mm, yeah.
Like I said, they're not interested in spreading the word. They're trying to, fund their lifestyles because these
Right.
churches, uh, educational institutions, they're nonprofit. They don't pay taxes, so people see that, as a come up, and they say, "Hey," they're telling themselves, "Hey, I can make an easy buck doing this, and get
Hmm.
some people to." Uh, believe my message and I can get them to donate money. I'm not saying every pastor or preacher is doing this, but there's a lot of people who are doing this just for the come up.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I think in general, a lot of people have kind of lost the passion in working.
Right.
And this is outside of just being a pastor, too. But a lot of people are solely working just obviously to get that paycheck. And it shows in the
Y-
quality of what they're putting out.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And that kind of like that dynamic pretty much like skyrocketed like in 2020 right after COVID because you notice a lot of
Absolutely.
businesses start putting up signs to say not now hiring, whether it's Target, Walmart, retail companies like that, or even larger companies. We saw everyone hiring because a lot of folks just said, "Hey, I don't want to work. I've been sitting at home collecting a, paycheck that's similar to the paycheck that I received." They just want to continue doing that. So yeah, it's sad that a lot of people just don't want to work and a lot of younger people don't want to work. So um, start a church if you don't want to work.
But I think
So
I think younger, middle, and older. I think that we put a lot of pressure on the younger generation and saying they don't want to do
right.
stuff. But I feel like it's people of all ages. I don't think that it's specifically younger people. I don't think that
Yeah, yeah,
anybody
yeah.
wants to work and are giving very lackluster experiences with everything. But that's just my
Yeah.
personal opinion.
Yeah, definitely. I remember probably about 2 months ago, I went shopping. I went to the mall to grab a few things, and I just noticed how you don't see too many like younger people working at a lot of these stores anymore. I saw like
Very
a lot
true.
of people who were 40, 50 years old working at a lot of large retailers and inside the mall. I remember, 10 years ago, you go to the mall, you see all type of people. You see young,
Hmm.
old, you see everybody working at the mall because if you wanted an additional stream of income, a second job, part-time job, you just took a job, at Macy's during a holiday, at Nordstrom's during a holiday. But now you're starting to see younger people stop doing those jobs and get into other things, whether they're, you know, scamming people or crypto or, starting churches. I mean, they doing anything,
Right.
to prevent from working.
There was a lot of conversation, and this is a TikTok story, but like a few months ago about
Okay.
retail workers, and this was more geared towards the younger generation, but
Mhm.
not wanting to interact with customers. So like not saying hello, not saying thank you, how are you? Literally just like scanning your stuff or whatever their job was, scanning your stuff, handing you your receipt, and you
Yeah.
going
Yeah,
on
definitely.
about your day. And obviously, my very first job was Little Caesars, so I
Pizza
am well
pizza.
versed. Piece of pizza. I am well versed in customer service. I worked, a few retail jobs, fast food, whatever. So it's very hard for me to kind of wrap my head around someone saying, we don't want to be your therapist. We don't want to,
Mhm,
talk to you. We're not getting paid enough to talk to you.
mhm,
And I just don't understand that because a simple hello or
mhm,
thank you or have a nice day, I don't feel like is really going out of your way.
mhm,
But again, I don't know if that's the millennial in me that's like,
mhm.
I don't comprehend that. I don't understand that. But also just think in general as a society, we've kind of just lost being nice to one
We lost
another.
that. Yeah, definitely, definitely. And like I said earlier, I think a lot of this stuff changed during COVID. People were not younger folks, millennials. I mean, they should already had these habits of just speaking to people, saying hello,
Hmm.
greeting. I know when I had a retail job, we were forced to do that. If you didn't greet a
Yes.
customer within 30 seconds, a manager will pull you over and say, hey, what's the problem? We have to greet
Hmm.
every customer that comes in here. It
Yes.
doesn't mean you need to follow them around the store, but you need to say
Right.
hello, because you got to think what separates, business A from business B is the customer service. It's how you, relate to your customers, and also building a rapport with the customers that come in, frequently. Um, you know, every business, sells this product. Like I said, what separates you from your competitors? And so,
Agreed.
yeah, I know when I go
And
in the
I think
grocery
it's,
store, yeah,
no, go ahead.
yeah. I say I know when I go in the grocery store, I was just in there yesterday. Like, if I see somebody and they make eye contact with me, I'm gonna say hello, good morning.
Hello, right?
Right. You're not just gonna stare at me and I'm gonna stare at you. I'm gonna say hello. And I go to the grocery store so many times a week, even though I ain't buying
Hmm.
much, they damn near know me. So if they see me, they gonna speak to me, regardless. So,
Yes.
but go ahead.
I think too, like take the business model out of it, right?
Mhm.
Isn't it just polite when you see someone to say hello? Like I don't need you to ask me how my day is going and I say it's going terrible and then I need you to jump into
Right.
cognitive behavioral therapy. Like I don't need
Mhm.
that. But
Mhm.
I do think taking the business aspect out of it, when you see someone you should say hello. So I went to Whole Foods today to do some returns and
Yeah, I got the
I
receipt for
said
that.
hello. Perfect. I said hello. The lady,
Yeah.
I mean, she didn't look at me. She didn't say hello. I was like, oh, okay. Like, no big deal. She's,
Mhm.
busy, whatever. Gave her my stuff. I had a couple of returns to do. So it took a second. But then I finished up and I said, thank you. She still didn't
Mhm.
say anything. So it was a very short interaction, but
Mhm.
she absolutely didn't say one word to me at all.
Right.
Um, and I don't know. I struggle with that because it's not about like she's getting paid to say hello to me. That's not the
Mhm.
issue. The issue for me is I find that the more times I go out, people do not say excuse me, they do not say thank you, they do not say hello. Like it's kind of almost like you have a bunch of mini robots just walking around doing life.
Right.
And I don't know, somewhere across the last few years, we've just lost like common
Yeah.
courtesy and decency to one another. And
Mhm.
it's hard to see what that will look like in another decade if we're not even saying hi.
Right, right. And a lot of times people are so in a zone, whether they're looking at their cell phones, uh,
Hmm.
they're thinking about what they're about to do next. They're uh, just emotionally stressed out in their personal lives that,
Yeah.
they have tunnel vision. They're not even looking at you.
Hmm.
I
Yes.
know when I move around, and simple stuff like holding doors for people, like I always hold doors for people, whether it's a man
Hmm.
or a woman. Like if I see somebody behind me, I'm gonna hold the door. Some people don't even say, "Oh, thank you." Thank you for
Yes.
holding the
That,
door.
that happened to
Um,
me yesterday.
right. I'm gonna always say thank you. Yeah, I don't care if it's
Right.
somebody that's younger than me, older than me, a male or female. I'm gonna hold the door and I'm gonna say thank you. And just simple stuff like, treating people, the way you want to be treated, like, stuff that, your
Yes.
parents or grandparents, brought you up with. But like you said, folks these days is just they're in the zone, and
You're right.
they're
It's
the
very
only
tunnel
person in.
vision.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're in a zone, and they're the only person in that zone. So it's
Hmm.
just something that people just need to change.
Yeah. But I don't think we're moving in the I don't think we're moving in the way of people are going to go back to where we were in saying hello or,
No,
having pleasantries. I think we're
no.
moving far away from that. And that's something
Right,
that we have to kind of accept moving forward.
right. Yeah, the only way I see that changing is if you're in a big city and you go to a smaller city. If you're in
Mhm.
Chicago, New York, LA, and you go to uh small town USA, you go to a town where everyone knows everyone. You go to a town or
Mhm.
city that's less than 1 million people because everyone's not in a hurry in those cities and those
Yes.
places. So
Mhm.
they're going to talk to you. But again, I've been in those small towns and it's the complete opposite. When you go to check out, the woman or guy that's checking you out is literally trying to build a whole relationship with you, and you're just
Mhm.
trying to check out. So I've seen that. So it can be two extremes to that.
Yeah. I understand
So
that.
yeah, definitely,
But
definitely.
high should be a minimum.
Oh yeah, yes.
High
Greeting
should be a
somebody.
minimum.
Yeah, you should always greet somebody.
Thank
Greet
you should
someone.
be a minimum.
Yeah, yeah. So hey, blame the parents. Hey, what can I say? And speaking of parents, we're gonna move on to another story that I saw while preparing for this stream. It relates to parents and adult children. So, a study by savings.com found that 50% of adults in their early 20s through their early 40s are still being supported by their parents. So, in this study, they found that parents were giving their adult children, on average, $1,400 a month to go towards their child's rent, living expenses, insurance, and even vacation. Like, what are your thoughts on that story?
Where can I sign up?
Exactly.
I want $1,400. My my personal opinion on that is I think if you're a parent and you have the money and you have the means to take care of your children and they're doing what they're supposed to do, then why not? I feel like to an extent that's the kind of parent I'll be, God willing. I have children in the future,
Mhm,
and obviously God willing that I'm fortunate enough to, make a decent living.
mhm.
I don't think that anything's wrong with kids living at home for an extended period of time. I
Until
mean,
they're 40.
America, yeah, I don't think anything's wrong with that.
So if I'm 40 years old and you my mama, I can live with you?
I do think at some point someone should get out of the house and, experience living by themselves, but I think it just depends on what it looks like. Like, are you responsible? Do you have, are you where you want to be in life? Do you have a compound in the basement, or are you living in your mom's house and it's a one bedroom? Like, I think that
If
there's
you're not
levels to it.
responsible by 40, 42, or 40, you're not gonna be responsible. That's it. That's it. If you're not responsible by 40, you're
But
never gonna
why
be responsible.
but why is responsibility tied into where you live?
Because these folks from the study, from what I read,
Hmm.
that they need their parent support.
Oh,
Like
okay.
mom and
Then
dad,
that's different.
yeah, mom and dad is paying for rent. Mom and dad is paying for
Gotcha.
insurance. Mom and dad is paying are even paying for vacations. So you mentioned earlier you're taking a trip for your birthday. I mean, hell,
Mhm.
if my parents say, "Hey, your birthday's coming up. Here's $1,400 for this month for you to take a vacation," I'd be happy as shit. I wouldn't
If
complain.
they say here's
I,
$200,
I wouldn't
I'd be like,
complain.
thank you.
Yeah, I wouldn't complain. I wouldn't criticize anyone getting that type of gift. But if it's every month, you're 40 years old, and mom and dad has to say, "Here's half the rent. Here's the money for you to get groceries." Now, if you need the money and you're physically not capable of doing something, I can understand. But if you got a job and you just blowing through money because mom and dad are going to give you a check every month, that's not a good look.
So you telling me if your parents, okay, let's say you were, um, I don't know, you were a senior manager at a Fortune 500, right?
Okay.
So you're making decent money.
Okay.
You can afford to, do whatever you want to do, basically.
Mhm.
So, in addition to doing that, if your parents wanted to give you $1,400 every month, You had, your 401k, you had a little bit of savings here and there. You were investing. You think something's wrong with that?
Yes. So let me give you this other data point that came from that study. Another finding from the study is that 50% of these parents are sacrificing their financial security to help their adult children.
Okay.
So it's not like all of these parents have discretionary income to give to their children. Like some of these parents are sacrificing their retirements, because you got to think if you're in your early 20s all the way up until millennial, you're in your early 40s, your parents are getting ready to retire in probably the next let's say 15 years.
Hmm.
So imagine your parents today, or let's take it away from you, anybody's parents. You're 40 years old, you're 45, and mom and dad they're not eating, they're not enjoying an empty nester lifestyle. They're still
Hmm.
working and taking money out of their retirement plans to feed you because you want to blow money um, in Portugal.
I think that's different then. Like, I guess my interpretation of what you read is that these are well off people who are choosing
Mhm,
to do this, and the kids are also well off and could,
mhm.
if they needed to, take care of themselves if the parent pulled out of supporting them. So, I mean, when you put it that way, that they're sacrificing their own retirement and their own funds, and that's totally different. That's a parent
Mhm.
issue and that's a child issue,
Right, right,
because
right.
I think your parent would be like, "You better figure it out.
Man,
You ain't getting
if
nothing."
listen, with me, it's gonna be the opposite. My mama gonna ask me for $1,400.
Exactly.
Like, my mama ain't giving me no money. My mother hasn't given me any money since, man, since high school.
Yeah.
She's asked me for some money, but she ain't give me no money. So,
Yeah.
my parents will ask me for money, but they ain't giving me no money. And I could see if somebody's 21 years old and
Yeah, because that's so
they
young.
graduate. Yeah, they
They should be in
graduate.
college.
Yeah. Even if they're a recent grad. I mean, if I have kids in their 20, in their early 20s, oh, come home, come stay here, save up for a year or
Hmm.
two and go buy your
Yes.
own. But when you start
Hmm.
coming around 27, 30, 35, 40, 45, I'm like, yo, you got to leave.
Eh,
You got to leave.
okay. So I just recently, bringing it back to TikTok. Obviously, I watch TikTok a lot. So I just
I know
saw
we know
another
you popping
TikTok.
on TikTok, but go ahead.
Hopefully, I will be soon. But I just saw TikTok with this. I don't know how old he was, but I would
Mhm.
say like mid 20s probably. He was an entrepreneur, had his own money, but he completely renovated. I think he spent like 200. It was either 200 or $300,000 to renovate the basement where him and his girlfriend lived.
Okay.
So it
Did
was
they own a
like,
home, or they were like, this is their parents' home?
it's the parents' home.
Okay.
So clearly they're gonna be living there. I mean, for a while. Like,
Yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
have
You
no
spending
intention.
money on renovation. Yeah.
Yes, they have no intentions on going anywhere. But I believe it was like a I believe it was a two-bedroom, and then they had like a little den. So the girlfriend could make her TikTok. She did like ASMR. So she had a room where she could make her TikToks, and then he had his office space, and then they had their bedroom. But it was
Mhm.
like, it looked like its own little mini house, like a
Right.
tiny house, I guess, in the basement. And I just feel like I don't see anything wrong with that. Like, if you have this big family house and your kid wants to stay, they've invested in making your property a bigger, I guess, a better investment in the future if they
Mhm.
want to sell it. I don't find anything wrong with that, and I think more families should do that.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. They're investing in the property by renovating the basement. Uh, and I'm pretty sure, like the study said, 50% of the parents are sacrificing their uh, personal financial security for their kids. Um,
Hmm.
but if you can afford it, do it. But the thing is, eventually those training wheels have to come off. Um, that you still have to learn to take care of yourself. I'm not saying mom and dad can't help when you need it as a safety net, but if you're just like bumming off them, taking
Yeah.
advantage of them, like, that's not cool. And, you know, like I said,
I
eventually
agree.
those training wheels have to come off. And when they do come off, it's not going to be pretty because you're not going to
Yeah.
know how to take advantage of, I mean, you're not going to know how to take care of yourself. You're not going to know how to properly save. And when, S hits the fan,
When stuff
and
gets
let's
hard,
say
yeah.
a tire blows, like you're gonna be out there, crying,
Hmm.
you know.
No, that's
So
true. And I have always been a big advocate that women for sure should, I'm not saying that men should live on their own too, but I think a lot of times women will get in relationships and they move in with their significant other, and a lot of times their first time out of the house is with
with
someone,
someone,
like they have a
yeah,
roommate or a partner. And I think it's very important for women too to have that independence for a little while, and live by themselves. I've lived by myself for like the last decade, and it's the most, I'm at peace every day.
right, right.
So I
You don't
know
have
once I
mom, you
have
don't have
a,
mom telling you to do this and do that, and who is
yes,
this you talking to on the telephone? What time you coming home at
right,
night? Yeah,
yes, and on the opposite side of the spectrum, like if I was in a relationship, like I would be sharing a space with my significant other, cooking for them, cleaning after
mhm,
them. If I have kids, same thing.
right,
So I love that I've gotten to experience, having my own space before I
right.
graduate into, having a
A shared
family.
space. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, definitely. There's a movie. I think it's called Stepsons. I think it's called Stepsons. I don't know if you've seen it, where it's like two like 30, 40-year-old men who are stepbrothers, and they live with their parents. I think Will
Mm.
Ferrell is in that movie. If you haven't seen it, go watch the trailer or
I
watch the
feel like
movie.
I have, but it's old,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's old. It's old.
Okay.
It's old. So it's like you can't be, you got to know how to take care of yourself. You know,
Yeah.
if you're 20 years old, I wish my mom and my parents helped me when I was in my 20s. But at the same time, I wouldn't know
Yeah.
what I know now.
Exactly. So
So
true.
yeah, I
That
mean,
is
is
very
it,
true.
yeah, it's pluses and minus, uh, to that. And so,
Yep.
you know, if my family, happens to listen to this, please start sending me $1,400 a month.
1,400. I
Uh,
want 15.
hell, I'll take $1,000 a month. Uh,
600.
yeah, I'll take anything. I mean, I'll take a home cooked meal at this point. Just give me some food and
Nah, give me the money. The
give me some
food,
food. Like
whatever.
you over there cooking. I'm not over
I
here
want the
cooking.
money.
So yeah, I'll take a home cooked meal. So that was an interesting story that I came across. So speaking of young people uh, having a difficult time taking care of themselves, or just not having a drive to take care of themselves, this story is the complete opposite. So a 17-year-old teen becomes the youngest person in California to pass the bar exam. A young lady in California that was previously the youngest person in the state's history to pass the bar exam at 17 years old, Sophia Park, was sworn in to work for the Tulare County District Attorney's Office. During a swearing in ceremony, Sophia thanked her family for being her biggest supporters. What are
Yeah.
your thoughts on that story, considering we got, you know, adults that can't take care of themselves, and over here we have a 17-year-old that's becoming the youngest person in California history to pass the bar exam, and later going and getting sworn in as an attorney at the county's DA's office.
First off, congratulations. That's huge.
Right.
Doing anything like that at 17 is phenomenal.
Hmm.
So I'm actually interested to see what part or what role her parents did play in her life,
Hmm.
um, on her being so successful at such a young age.
Right.
Um, because obviously we all know that environment is just as important. Nature versus nurture, they're both very important. So I would just love to see like what her family dynamics look like. And then obviously she too is pushing herself obviously behind the scenes too. So I I don't know. I would want to be next to her on her day to day and just see if we have the same 24 hours or if her 24
Right.
hours look different than mine. But
Right. Well, maybe her days are longer. Maybe she has 36-hour days and we have
something.
24-hour days. So it has to be a reason why she's more productive than I am. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
congratulations to her. So one of the things the story did say was that before passing the bar at 17 and becoming the youngest person in California history to pass the bar, her brother previously held that title and he
Oh
passed
wow.
that exam at 18. So, like you said, it comes down to nature versus nurture. And also, one of the things I got from that story when I was reading additional details was that her dad was a patent agent. So I'm going to assume he worked for the patent office for the federal government,
So they all
or
smart
probably,
then.
yeah. I mean,
Whole
yeah,
family smart.
yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully, yeah. The dad sounds smart.
Wow.
The kids are smart, and so it sounded like he needed an attorney or some
Hmm.
legal advice while doing the whole
Okay.
patent agent thing, and he asked his kids if they would be interested in studying law. And I think his son at the time didn't know anything about law school or even a bar exam, but he started, preparing for it, of course. And his
Wow.
daughter, from what I understand, that was one of her life's goals was to pass the bar and become a lawyer. So, I mean, it's a pretty,
And
positive
did it
story
at
all around.
17.
Yeah,
That's
17. Because there's
crazy.
people out here who can't. A lot of people don't pass the bar
Right.
exam first attempt. They take two
Yeah.
attempts, three attempts before they pass. And some states are more difficult than others.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, I've heard stories of people failing a bar exam multiple times before eventually
Yes.
passing or eventually moving to another state and practicing law somewhere else where it's easy. So yeah,
Hmm.
big ups to her. Getting something off her bucket list at such an early age, but that's just great. So,
Yeah, she'll be killing it by the time she's
yeah,
in her early 20s. She'll have a
right,
master's degree by then.
right, yeah. So speaking of that, would you hire a 17 or 18-year-old to possibly represent you in court?
Yes, I
Okay,
would.
good. Okay, good. I mean, I would
But I
personally.
too, you wouldn't?
No, because she still needs like experience, like hands-on experience. But like you said, down
I
the
agree with
road when
that.
she's like in her 20s, I would definitely hire her if I can afford her. She may be too expensive for me. So
She probably will be.
right.
But I think too that yes, there's those life experiences that come with some stuff. Obviously, would depend on what you need them to represent you for as well. But I think a big portion of the law is black and white. I think there's some gray area there, but I think as long as they know, you know, what they're practicing, then
Mhm.
I don't think I would have any issue with hiring her.
Right. Right, definitely. And maybe we can get Sean Kingston if he needs a lawyer out there in Florida. I know she's not practicing
He
in
can do pro
Florida.
bono.
Yeah, but maybe she can pass the bar in Florida on first attempt and go down there and represent him. Well, he's already been convicted and found guilty, so I don't know. Maybe he may ask
Wait,
for.
already?
Yeah, he's. I think he's already been found guilty, so maybe he
Oh, so
can.
they just haven't done the sentencing yet, like
Yeah,
on how
yeah,
long he's gonna get.
yeah. I think
Oh
that's what from
wow.
the story. So
Oh, I
maybe
didn't
he
know
can,
that part.
contact her and her brother, who's probably 18 or 19 at this time, and get some get a retrial going, and
Well,
then we can
she's
talk about that
doing.
on another episode.
There we go. But she's not. She's not being paid. Where she? I'm assuming she's probably doing an internship.
No, so she passed. I think from what I understand, she graduated from high school already. She
Hmm.
passed the bar when she was 17. She's already been sworn in as an attorney at the DA's
Oh, as
office.
an actual attorney. Okay. I
Right.
thought this was like an internship or something.
Yeah. So,
Wow. Yeah, she's going to
so
be handling cases then, I'm sure.
right.
So somebody's going to be paid. If it's not you, if it's not me, somebody else.
Right. Right. So yeah, that's a pretty interesting story.
Good for
So
her.
You know, from the millennials that can't take care of themselves to a 17, 18-year-old that's an attorney.
Yep.
You know, so
We'd love to
it's an
see
amazing
it.
story. Yeah, definitely, definitely. All right. So that was the last story I had. Did you want to, cover anything else before we wrap the stream up?
I don't have anything. I haven't, even though, I'm on TikTok all the time.
Okay.
It's been a
So do you want
slow
to share
week
your
for me.
TikTok? You don't have to share it, but it's up to you if you want to share it. I mean, no, you don't have to share
Putting me
it. We can
putting
we
me
can do
on
that
the
in the
spot.
future. Yeah,
Next
we can do that
time.
in the
Yeah,
future.
next
Yeah,
time.
next time. So go find her on TikTok and stalk her. No, I'm just messing. I'm gonna take that out. But no, I'm not gonna take this out. So all right. So if there's nothing else, let's go ahead and end our first episode of Sigh of Relief. All right. Thanks everyone for watching.
Bye.